Good afternoon, Mr. Wick.
I'd like it tasty.
Excellent. Block 34 and 26. What's next?
Something robust.
AR-15.
Do you have anything bold?
I suggest a bit Nelly for
Put a little purple on dessert.
the finest cutlery.
Well done.
Do enjoy your party.
Put a little purple on John Wick, Chapter 2, starts February 10th.
M. Night Shyamalan has been notorious for making horrible films. In my opinion, Signs was pretty much the beginning of his downfall. His awkward humor mixed with his even more awkward horror scenarios made for awful storytelling, and he fell hard and fast. But now I've been hearing that he's finally created something worth watching again, and that's the movie Split, where the antagonist, played by James McAvoy, is a man with multiple personalities who is eerie and bizarre and really pretty dark and scary. I still wasn't willing to put down money in a theater to watch one of this guy's movies, but I ended up changing my mind. After all the uproar against this movie, I started feeling like I had to see it. There have been pretty absurd accusations that Split is a transphobic movie. If you've been online recently, you'll know that sneezing is considered transphobic. It's really not hard to be considered transphobic. I called a penis a biologically male organ and got called transphobic last week. So you see how easy it is. There's even a petition against the movie currently going. They say because James McAvoy is in a dress and heels in one of the movie's previews that the movie is clearly transphobic. It has nothing to do with the fact that the dude is numerous personalities all in one brain and one may be more feminine. It's just fully transphobic. M. Night hates trans people, but you won't see nearly as many people giving a shit when Bugs Bunny dresses up like a woman, or perhaps the numerous black actors who have turned into women for roles. Perhaps maybe they don't accuse them because that'd be considered racist. I'm not even sure anymore. But what's really got people's assholes burning is how disgusting it is that the movie Split is victimizing and demonizing people with mental illness, specifically multiple personality disorder or dissociative identity disorder. It's just terribly insensitive, triggering, and wrong. To the people who think this, I have a couple questions. Where were you during the Batman movies and video games that feature an antagonist from a fucking mental institution? The Joker, of course. Or perhaps Two-Face. He seemed to have a bit of a personality disorder himself, didn't he? And what about all the other movie villains who suffer from, PTSD, psychosis, depression, bipolar disorder, etc.? Hannibal Lecter, for instance. Annie Wilkes from Misery. Seymour Parrish from 1 Hour Photo. What about the famous movie titled so offensively as just Psycho? Does the fact that the antagonists are scary or mean or evil make it okay? I don't see much of a difference here. Split isn't an accurate representation of multiple personality disorder. There are plenty of other movies that hit way closer to the mark of actual mental illness than Split does. So why are you so upset now? Why this movie? I never thought I would ever defend M. Night's work, but this is just unbe-fucking-leavable. I think this is just a pure example of the times we're living in. People need to be victimized, and even if they're not, they need to create an issue that will make them feel marginalized and offended. Because today's biggest drug is pity, and it's got tons of people addicted. People in today's society are quite literally fabricating their own mental disorders and wearing them as if they're badges of pride, while people who actually suffer from real mental illnesses are wondering why anyone would ever want it for themselves. I just don't know. If you're offended by Split's concept, you need to wake the fuck up. Almost every single antagonist, from an intense horror movie to a fucking kids film, suffers from some kind of mental disorder or condition. There are plenty of actually offensive movies to get enraged by. For instance, there is a movie, I can't actually recall the name of the specific movie, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember the antagonist in the movie underwent a traumatic experience and suffered from severe PTSD as a result. He ends up moving into a community far away from his original home, and he starts strong-arming all these good-hearted people. He ends up manipulating just about everyone he meets to essentially become his servants, or else. Anyone who resists him, he either imprisons, brainwashes, tortures, or even murders. All because he has PTSD from that one traumatic event. The movie makes it abundantly clear that this guy has changed mentally due to extreme emotional trauma. He makes life horrific, absolutely horrific, for anyone he comes into contact with. Wait a second. I do remember who I'm talking about. That's Lotso Huggin' Bear from Toy Story 3. Yeah. That movie was a much more accurate representation of PTSD than Split was of multiple personality disorder. And if you ask me, Ken in that movie is a clear sign of homophobia. Clear as day. But why no outcry? Is it because PTSD isn't as obvious somehow? It's not as important? Seems weird considering dissociative identity disorder affects less than 200,000 people a year, while PTSD affects more than 2 million. Why no petitions against that? Isn't Toy Story 3 just teaching children to fear people who've had traumatic experiences? Doesn't it teach them that if they've had a traumatic experience, that they'll probably become evil? God, it's intense, I don't. Isn't it victimizing people who suffer from PTSD? No? Well, no fucking shit. Split isn't victimizing anyone either. This victim culture really needs to fucking end. So many people are fueled by victimhood and being offended, so they feel more a part of something. That's what I honestly think. They feel proud that they are a special type of person with a condition that they think makes them a better type of person. It's like kids with a shitty upbringing scoffing at kids who had a good one. They think they're a lot less cool. They'll just never understand. They'll never be one of us. It's just way cooler to be in a shitty fucking mood all the time. There is a culture behind feeling like shit. And because it's so easy and it requires no actual work other than feeding your own narcissism, tons of people want in on it. Suck it up and stop being a wimp. I'm not excusing people who actually victimize others, the ones we should actually be paying fucking attention to, instead of worrying about this fucking bullshit. But if the world operated the way you wanted it to, no one would be able to talk or even look at another person because it would risk offending someone. And we certainly wouldn't be able to watch movies with any real depth in them anymore because antagonists would no longer be allowed. Grow the fuck up. And understand that there's way more to be proud about when you're not easily offended and can find enjoyment in many things, rather than if you're living your life as a brooding, loudmouth victim of non-existent attacks. You are the problem. Only once you change will anything get better. But that's just what I think. Who the fuck knows if you're going to change? Probably not. Why should you? I don't know. That's it for this video. I'm going to be doing more of these. If you liked it, hit it with a thumbs up. I'm going to make this a regular thing. I feel I need to filter this shit out sometimes. God. Thanks for watching. Really, it means a lot. If you agreed with anything that I said, or maybe you didn't, be sure to subscribe to my channel by pressing above. And of course, check out my other videos, wherever they are on the screen. Because you're not going to want to miss them, sweetie. And I'll see you next time.